Cuba, it's me! Let's do wrestling! The W.I.L.L.I.W show is here! Well, we can't do wrestling. The ankle's still a little sore, so let's talk wrestling. Episode 11, W.I.L.L.I.W, which stands for Wrestling is Life, Life is Wrestling. I am so pumped to be here. I just love it. This is the funnest thing ever. Other than wrestling, if I can't do wrestling, then I have to do this show. I'm having a great time. Other than the trolls, I got a couple trolls that as soon as I post the videos, they will go and without even watching them and click dislike. That's okay, because everyone else is supporting me so great. So I got a couple things I want to talk today, and I just love it. Talking is so fun. Everything's fun. I love almost everything. I say the word love so much. I say the word wrestling so much. That's just me. I'm like 110 all the way up. Anyway, so let's talk this. I was watching NXT last night, and before we get into what I thought of the show, I just want to say I had an epiphany, which is also the name of one of T-Pain's albums. Now, my epiphany is this. WWE did the Cruiserweight Tournament. WWE did the WWE United Kingdom Tournament. Now, there's been talks, and I don't like to talk about rumors. I'm not a Ronnie rumor head, but they've been saying, oh, they might do a ladies one. How about this? Let's all join together. Now, I love Ontario. I love the rest of Canada. I've wrestled mostly in Ontario, and I have a lot of colleagues and friends and acquaintances in Ontario. But let's do this. Let's all get on behind this. Hashtag it. Let's all join in together. Get petitions signed. Why are we not doing a WWE Canada Tournament or something like that? Something like along the lines of the show. So many great talent has come out of Canada over the years. I feel like we're on another level. When I used to go do the shows in the States back in the day, and I wasn't even very good back then, and I've improved tremendously since then, but we would go down there, and there would be a couple of good workers, shout out to Mark Mandrake, but I mean, some of the guys were just the drizzling craps, like really, they were so bad, and it made me feel like, wow, at least I got trained properly, at least I know what I'm doing somewhat. I may not have everything about my character psychology, but these guys, it was like backyarders or something. So many bad wrestlers in the States, and there's so many more of them than in Canada. So the percentage of good workers in Canada is way above a lot of countries. And we do have some guys and girls that do have the drive and are pushing, trying to get noticed, trying to get exposure. Kudos to them, but let's all band together. Whether you like someone or don't like them, we need to all support each other. The more good things that's said about Canada, the more it makes it better to say, hey, I was trained in Canada, or I worked the Indies in Ontario, or British Columbia, or Newfoundland, anywhere. Let's get together and just come together as a group and start pushing each other and start helping each other out, giving each other like little, I rub my back, your back, you rub my back. You know what I mean. Let's get this going. Let's get petitions started. Let's get hashtags started. WWE Canada has to happen. So I was thinking about that when I was watching NXT last night. Now this is my second week in a row watching NXT. And I have to say, I love the tag team division. Now, Raw and SmackDown, I feel like they just kind of put the tag team division down on the floor. Like they're at the bottom. They're not really like something that they're really focused on. But in NXT, they're doing it right. I like the heavy machine guns or whatever they're called. It's such a corny gimmick, but they do it well. And they're big guys. They have good looks. They could be over on the main roster right now. Obviously, they're going to keep them down there to get more polished. But and then they had the triple threat match with the one participant from each team. And I was just like, what I was mostly blown away about was that big guy that's managed by Paul Ellering. He worked like a cruiserweight style match for a big guy. He bumps and moves fast. Him and his partner, when they get to the main roster, they're going to be a big deal. I just don't like the whole, they almost look like the Shield characters. It just seems nowadays you don't see a lot of like flashy colors or good outfits. Everyone wants to wear like what Dean Ambrose wears, and everybody just wants to look like more of an everyday type guy. But that's the only thing I have to criticize. So I enjoyed NXT. Now I want to talk a couple other things. Speaking of NXT, there's these guys, the Bollywood Boys. Now, I met them about 11 years ago. They came from British Columbia out to Ontario to do a few shows. I remember the one in Brantford Gerv wrestled on, and I had just met them, and we got along really good. We had the same taste in music. I helped him because he didn't have ring music. I let him use one of my CDs. and they were just such nice, humble guys, so much passion, great work ethic, and it's great to see them getting signed. I'm happy for them, but I gotta beg the question, are the Bollywood Boys gonna be a bust? Like, to me on social media, they just go and keep posting these things, like, just kind of acting like fans, which I know we're all fans, and that's why we get into this, but like, and this is just social media, folks. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it just seems, and it's funny too, because before when they would post things, so many people would like it. Now whenever they post something, everybody comes out of the woodworks like, hey, I used to know him, and I met him once, just like I'm doing. I mean, how could you not? Name dropping is so fun, especially if you have like any interaction. It's like, hey, I shook so-and-so's hand. That could turn into, oh, I remember I met so-and-so back in the day. Anyway, I wrestled Harv Sura in Guelph, Ontario 11 years ago in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and he just wanted to be so good. You could tell he had a drive in him. Now, it just seems like they're just enjoying living the dream too much, but I can tell you, they are focused. It may take them a little longer. They're not the biggest guys. They're in great shape, but they will get it eventually. Like, I know it may take longer for them. They have a great gimmick and character, and it just seems like, oh, they're enjoying it too much. They're already celebrating before they've even won anything. Well, not really, because they won some. They're in NXT. So if they get dropped, which I don't see happening, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if they do get dropped, well, guess what? Now they can get booked and charge more money and start going everywhere in the world. So it's always a good thing just being signed in NXT, because now you can say, oh, I got trained by this guy, I got trained by Shawn Michaels, I got trained by, the guys from England that come over and help run the classes and stuff. So it's a good look either way. I just want to see them do it right. I know they will. I'm not bashing them. I just have to ask the questions, and I have to answer them myself, because it's just me. I love wrestling. I love talking wrestling to myself. But eventually I will talk to other people, and you can also comment on my videos. I will talk about things that you say, and we'll start doing this show more. It's together. This show is for everybody. So what else do we got here? So I watched NXT, WWE Canada, Bollywood Boys. Speaking of name dropping, here's a funny story, because I just like to name drop. And everybody loves hearing about names. No one wants me to talk about, oh, I wrestled some guy in Saskatchewan 15 years ago that no one ever heard of. People want to hear about the people they know, that watch on TV, the people they look up. So Cesaro came in, I believe, 2007 to do a show for us for PWA in Kitchener. And Cesaro, the promoter, he goes to me, oh, by the way, do you think Cesaro and his girlfriend, I believe it was Sarah Del Rey at the time, think they could stay at your house? And I said, well, it's kind of last minute. I don't even got a bedroom open for them. I have an air mattress in the basement they could stay on. And he said, yeah, just anything to save them money for the hotel. So I agreed. And I had to say, Cesaro was known as Claudio back then. And he was the most humble, nicest, appreciative guy for this little crappy air mattress on the floor. They were so polite. They were just true class acts, him and the girl. And I believe it was Sarah Del Rey. I might be wrong. That's what my memory is telling me. And I just think that's a funny little story. Cesaro sleeping on my air mattress. Now he's like, quite possibly the pound for pound the best wrestler in the world. In my opinion, who's better than Cesaro? Now, something else I got to address. Everybody has been asking me, well, not everybody, but I've got a few messages. What do I think of the whole Trinidad and Tobago thing? Now, everybody in Canada was jealous of this. Like, all the people that got booked from BC and Ontario to go, your flights paid for, your accommodations were paid for, you get to wrestle in tropical paradise, Trinidad and Tobago. It was gonna do good things, and I just gotta say this. I talked to the guy. Now, there's this guy, Dindal Rocky Venom Ramdahal. But from now on, you could just call him Venom. I've talked to him on the phone on multiple occasions. He has such drive and passion. He will do anything to make this happen. So everyone's saying, what do I think about the show being switched from this weekend to now June or July now? And I just think it's a smart move. It's a good look. If you can't do it the way you want to do it, Venom, if you can't have it picture perfect, then Don't do it until it's exactly the way you want it. This is going to be the first show. You want it to be represented exactly how you want it to be. So it's okay. It's okay. People are still going to come out. It gives you a couple more months. This is going to take off, folks. Mark my words. I'll be wrestling in Trinidad because once the first show goes off, there's going to be more sponsors. There's going to be more media coverage. Everything is going to go through the roof, so make sure on that first show you do it properly. That's all I have to say about that. Now tomorrow is my Ike the Crippler Shaw Part 2 episode, and that will be tomorrow. And then of course after that, it's going to be Hall of Fame, it's going to be NXT TakeOver, it's going to be WrestleMania, and then the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. It's going to be an exciting week on the Willow Show. I can't wait. Now make sure, if you don't like my video, you get a leg drop. If you don't comment on my video, you get a clothesline. And if you don't subscribe to my video, you get a suplex. This is Willow Show, episode 11. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!